Pepe claps.
Pepe claps. Clap champ.
Clap champ.
Clap champ.
Clap trap.
You right? Yo, FNAF?
FNAF? Let's talk about Five Nights at Freddy's. Where's the Five Nights
I
at
will-
Freddy's bracket?
I will bring the expert over here. Skylow, we need you for a moment. Skylow,
Five Nights at Freddy's questions.
Skylow, we need you for a moment. We need your don't spoil me. We need your expertise on something. Yes. We need your expertise.
Have a seat.
Yeah.
Why am I here?
Yeah, sit down. Please, talk to the chat about your favorite series lore, Five Nights at Freddy's.
All right, so FNAF is a very interesting game. All right, the first game begins with, some unwanted, unsettling images. So what you have to take note is every detail in FNAF is important. In FNAF 1, you get these phone calls from someone that you don't even know. They said they worked in your shift before you. Each night, progressively, each of the animatronics get more aggressive, per se. You know, the phone guy did say that. Wait, FNAF bracket? Oh, yeah, no, true. But the phone guy did say that Foxy was his favorite. This is in night 2 of his call. And what's important here is he mentioned something very crucial, which we'll get into a little bit later, which is the bite of 87. So this is first referenced in FNAF 1 when one of the animatronics was apparently decommissioned due to the bite of 87. So what's important to note here is that there's a lot to unpack here, all right? First of all, we know that FNAF 1 ends at 1993 because the minimum wage you get in that check correlates to 1993, all right? So that's important to know because that means, the bite of 87 did not happen whenever you were there. It happened before, a few years before, actually. But what's important to unpack from FNAF 1 are the posters you get. Throughout each night, if you look at some of the cameras, you'll see posters appearing about missing children, all right? And apparently 5 were missing. And this makes sense because in FNAF 1, there are 5 animatronics. You may think, wait, 5? Isn't there 4? Well, you're forgetting one of them, and that is Golden Freddy, all right? Golden Freddy, we'll get to it in a bit because Golden Freddy is a very important animatronic in this lore, all right? So let's jump into FNAF 2, okay? So FNAF 2, very different game. You don't have any doors, actually. You have a flashlight and a mask, all right? And you have to wind up a music box. We're introduced to several new animatronics here, such as Balloon Boy, Mangle, and most importantly, the puppet. The puppet's very important here because each time you lose in FNAF 2, you have a chance of there being a minigame. And each of these minigames are very important lore-wise, such as the puppet minigame for give gifts, give life. So in this minigame, it's really important because there's 4 animatronics that you give life to. So first you give gifts to these dead children, and then you give life, which you're actually putting on the animatronic suits on each of these kids so they're able to preserve. But the craziest thing about this is at the end of that minigame, while you're playing as the puppet, there is, for 1 frame before the jump scare, there is another kid. And that kid is Golden Freddy, right? So the marionette is really important because they're the ones who are giving life to each of these animatronics. And here we come to our villain, which is the purple guy. So the purple guy is the antagonist of FNAF. They are, the sort of the mastermind behind it. But it gets very interesting, especially whenever we get to 3 and 4 and its sister location. But for now, all we need to know in FNAF 2 is there's a purple guy who's been killing children and luring them into the back. And then we get jump scares every time that sort of thing happens in these minigames. So minigames aside now, we get to talk about these phone calls. So phone calls, they're kind of normal, all right? Except for Night 6, which things get a little weird on Night 6. Night 6 is most of the time dubbed the Nightmare Night in most of the FNAF games. in this Nightmare Night, you know, we get a phone call, and the phone guy is asking what we're doing there, and that we aren't supposed to be there, and that someone took a suit, a golden one, in the back. And this is very scary because we obviously jumped to the conclusion that it's Golden Freddy, but we're actually wrong about that, which I'll get to in a bit. That happens in FNAF 3, that we get our answer to that. But the point here is a suit was stolen, and what's crazy about the ending of this game is, you know that paycheck we got in FNAF 1? We also get one in FNAF 2. And this one is in 1987. So we're playing at this time around the bite of 87. So it is my theory. There's been no confirmation yet, but it is my theory that Mangle was the one that was part of the bite of 87. Because Mangle no longer has the name Mangle in the future FNAF games and is always decommissioned. You know, the only time we see like a Mangle-esque animatronic is Funtime Foxy, but even then, that's just Foxy. So, you know, I'd argue that that's just, you know, coincidence, you know. And also, they could just take the design. So, point is, it's Mangle. I personally, I think it's Mangle that was the one behind it. Now we can go on to FNAF 3, all right? So, in FNAF 3, we're that golden suit, all right? We're introduced to this one animatronic. Surprisingly, in FNAF 3, there is only one animatronic, and that is Springtrap. Springtrap is, well, indeed, William Afton, the purple guy. And we'll get to why his name is William Afton in a bit, but he is the purple guy, all right? And we have confirmation about this because of that phone call, which told us about that golden suit being stolen. Yeah, that was Springtrap. So William Afton stole that suit. And that's just, you know, insane. So the whole thing in this game is we're playing in a Halloween sort of place where, you know, it's a Fazbear Frights, all right? That's the main attraction. And, you know, people come in, get scared, you know, yada, yada, yada. This is actually the most present FNAF game, you know? It's all the way in the future, so it's the most present one. Aside from it's a Pizzeria Simulator, which we'll get to that one in a bit. But this is the most present one, and it's Springtrap we're introduced to, and this plays a very big story in the mini games we can access. So we're gonna first talk about the mini games you automatically receive each night. So after each night, you will play as an animatronic, Foxy, then Chica, then Bonnie, then Chica, then Foxy. Each time you play as each of these animatronics, you get lured into a back room which you're not allowed to enter. After that, you have the purple guy, which is, you know, William Afton, decommission each of the animatronics you took back there. So whenever they all get decommissioned, that's when Night 5 happens, which you play as the ghost of these animatronics, and you lure William Afton into the back, all right? William Afton goes to the back and tries to run away from you, and you keep proceeding to go to him, and eventually he has what is known as a spring lock failure. So pretty much the thing with the William Afton suit is it operates as both a suit that, you know, works normally like a suit, you know, you just wear it, and it operates as its own animatronic in its own mode. So the thing about this is it was raining whenever you, like, corner him, and then the spring locks break, and he kind of, like, just dies, like, through the suit. So William Afton is dead, but his soul is not. His soul is still attached to Springtrap. All right, so I hope you guys got that down, because now we have to go through the secret mini games in this game. So the secret mini games, there's quite a few of them. They're more so fun ones, but you always have to do something in order to progress to the final mini game. So you have to, like, somehow find a way to cheat your way through, like, the mini game or whatever. There's one with Balloon Boy. There's one where, you know, you're just hopping around with Mangle, finding her spare parts. And then you get to the final one, which is the Happiest Day minigame, right? And this is a very important minigame because what happens in this one is a little wholesome. So you play as the marionette in this one, and you're walking through, and pretty much all the animatronics are there wearing masks. And it ends off with, you know, each of the animatronics whose souls are in them being released. And like I said before, this is one of the more like recent ones in the timeline, so it's a little confusing here, but you know, it was a solid end for FNAF 3. Personally, I thought FNAF 3 was going to be the final FNAF game, and it would have been good. But then out of nowhere, we got FNAF 4. Alright, FNAF 4 already was a big one in terms of like what was happening. So, you know, we get these teasers for FNAF 4. And in these teasers, we see that each animatronic, this is on ScottGames.com, by the way, where he kept teasing all of these. It keeps showing each of the animatronics in their new form, which is the nightmare forms. Again, these animatronics are not real, much like the FNAF 3 ones, except for Springtrap. They're not real, okay? So these animatronics, you know, it has the question mark of, was it me? Over and over again. So we're automatically to assume that this is about the bite of 87 if each of these animatronics were the cause of the bite of 87. But unfortunately, you know, that, you know, isn't exactly, you know, the case, you know. So the thing about FNAF 4 is actually that bite at the end. Well, actually, let me explain. So FNAF 4, we play it as the crying child, okay? The crying child is assumed to be Golden Freddy, and here's why. So, Golden Freddy there's a Golden Freddy plush that the Crying Child has throughout the entire game. You play as the Crying Child within each night, and each night is approaching to the big day, which is your party. Most of the time, we get tidbits of like lore here and there about the children saying you're afraid of the place or that you've seen something. So we're a little bit cautious as the Crying Child playing the game. And each time we have the Golden Freddy appear in every frame of like anywhere we go. He appears as the plush, obviously. He appears behind like, you know, a flower or something like that, behind a couch or something. He's always there just watching us. And no matter where he goes, his eyes are following us. So this is very interesting. And I can get back on the topic of the Golden Freddy plush later, but the point is here, what happens at the end of FNAF 4 is pretty sad. So the Crying Child has his birthday, and his older brother takes him to the Fredbear suit. All right, Fredbear, not to be confused with Golden Freddy. So it takes him to the Fredbear suit, and while he's being taken there, obviously he's scared. He doesn't want to, you know, go near Freddy. He's just afraid of the animatronics. They take him over there, and you know what happens is very sad. Accidentally, the kids put the Crying Child into Fredbear's mouth. There's a spring lock failure, and the Crying Child dies. This is assumed to be the bite of 87, but actually it is not, because in night 3, the night 3 minigame, right before we play night 4. You know, there's a lot to unpack because there's an ad, and this is where the game gets a little controversial. There's this ad that says 1983 at the end of the ad, and we're to assume that, you know, whether it's the year it is or whether it's the year of the establishment, we don't know. It's a Fredbear and Frank's commercial, and it ends with 1983. Personally, again, I'm giving my opinions. I think this is the bite of 83. What happened in this incident was the bite of 83 and not the bite of 87, like, you know, some people think. Yeah, going ahead, after Night 5, we play Night 6, which is exclusively Golden Freddy. Wait, no, actually I lied. Night 5 is exclusively Golden Freddy. Night 6 is a Nightmare. Golden Freddy only appears on Night 5, and after that night and after Nightmare mode, we get a bonus scene. And this bonus scene is pretty insane because it says how we'll put you back together. The Golden Freddy plushie says that, which is a little insane because what does he mean by this? We still have not found the answers for this, but it is to be assumed that the Crying Child inhabited Golden Freddy, or at least part of Golden Freddy. And I'll get to why I say part of that. Oh, I'm just talking about FNAF 4. No, I'd say
What
it
does
was to
everyone think?
why part of that in a minute. As we were saying, so in FNAF,
Guys, hang in there. We're starting back in 8 minutes. Just try to live.
so in FNAF Sister Location, which would be the next installment of the game, we have oh hey there, we have very interesting stuff.
Hold up.
Oh yeah. So
How are you guys doing?
no.
First of all.
I'm still going. FNAF 6. It's very interesting because this place is an underground facility for all the animatronics, where they are. All right.
What part are you on?
FNAF 6.
Okay.
So this is a part like underground facility, and what they do is they do rentals for each of these animatronics. All right.
Yeah, and there's one called Baby, which looks like a girl, and she likes to hand out ice cream. There's another called Laura that looks like a ballerina. And this is no cap, very true. There is also a Springtrap suit down there that the dude has to fix.
Yeah. So what you're in charge of doing in this game is you're in charge of fixing the animatronics for their rentals. So obviously, that's what you do. You know, you do what the game instructs you to do. But you meet this animatronic. Her name is Baby. All right, and she's very interesting because in one of the mini games that you can play, obviously this is one of those death mini games where after you lose, like you have a chance of getting the mini game. You get to play as Baby, and if you hand out all the cupcakes to the children in that mini game,
We're going to switch to the game
get-
for 1 second.
okay, you get a bonus scene where you see that there's an extra cupcake left. And yeah, well, we're going to get to that, Alex, but I'm glad you brought that up. We get a bonus scene in the game where it shows that Baby, like, ate a little child. And this little child is supposed to be, well, what we think is the child from the beginning of the trailer that sounds all British and whatnot. So as Alex was mentioning in the chat, Baby's eye color changes between that mini game to the eye color of how how the little girl's eye color was. So it goes from blue to green, which is interesting to say the least. As we were saying, well, we have 5 minutes, but I'll try to wrap this up. So as we were saying, you know, don't worry about bracket. So that happens, and what's really important about
guys, before he finishes up the story, I just wanted to say we will be starting back top 16 in 5 minutes. So get ready.
1698.
Okay, finish it all.
All right. So let me get back to where I was. So, you guys remember all this stuff in FNAF 4? I hope that I said. So the ending of FNAF Sister Location is very interesting. I got the eye colors wrong. My bad. Alex is correct. But what's crazy about the ending of FNAF Sister Location is we go into the scooping room where it takes the endoskeleton. 1698. Yeah. It takes the endoskeleton of the animatronic and shoves it out, but we're the ones that get shoved out. And the animatronics use our body to leave the facility. So that's an important part.
Did you get the FNAF world yet?
No, not yet. Actually, that's actually important. FNAF World will be next, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so as I was saying, well, actually, we can bring FNAF World into this in a second. But as I was saying, yeah, so we get scooped, and the animatronics leave using our bodies. All right? And we have another ending, which is called the fake ending, which is a little interesting to say the least, but this is an important ending to note, because what happens in this ending is we go into an area of the game that we're not supposed to access, and we find Ennard. Ennard is the culmination of all the animatronics put together, all right?
He really likes assorted butters and popcorn.
Yeah. So what's important about that area in the game is if we type in 1983 on the keypad, we get access to the crying child's room from FNAF 4, which is very important. And also, there's a golden Freddy plush with a walkie-talkie on the back, meaning that maybe the golden Freddy plushie was actually talking. Maybe someone was behind it after all. and that person is William Afton. William Afton is introduced in FNAF World, all right, and a little bit in the books as well. So, in FNAF World, we are introduced to two characters, Henry and William Afton. Henry created Baby and regrets it all because Henry would create these animatronics, and William Afton started using them for malicious intentions. So the fake ending happens, and we learn like that. It doesn't actually happen because it's the fake ending, but we learn about Ennard, and about that room that someone staged it, and I do believe William Afton had control, and that ties into who the crying child actually is. It is my belief that the crying child is actually the son of William Afton. And we have a lot of confirmation for this, as well as the crying child's brother being obviously, being the crying child's brother as well, so. Need to start from the beginning. I'll get back to it later. I'm going to finish and then I'll start from the beginning again. But, so there's a lot to unpack here. And what's more is you think that's the end of FNAF's sister location, which it is, but it's not the end of FNAF entirely. Oh, hi.
Scoot over.
I've been talking
Viewers, I've come here to save you from the FNAF lore.
Been talking about FNAF. So that's what you think of sister location being the final game, but no, it is not. There's FNAF Pizzeria Simulator, all right? And in FNAF Pizzeria Simulator, there's quite a bit to unpack here. So this is one of the more future ones. As I was talking about, we can't nail it down between whether it's in FNAF 3, like future tense, or if it's past it or like below it. So it's hard to nail down here.
You ever think there are like alternate timelines in the FNAF lore? Has that been a thing yet?
That's where things get complicated because people think the books are alternate timelines, and so it gets a little complicated. Personally, I'm a fan of that theory. But we have so we have FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. Pizzeria Simulator is kind of crazy. So we salvage animatronics in this game. So whenever this game first came out, we were kind of blown away. We thought it was just going to be like a fun little side FNAF game. No, it's a real thing. So like
that's crazy.
It's kind of crazy. So it's a real thing. It's actually free.
I was gonna say that was the one that was like free on Steam.
Yeah, it's free. But what ends up happening is I appreciate it, especially after my rough time. But
that's how it goes.
Hey,
I had a real bad tournament run. I went 0-0.
But we have Pizzeria Simulator, we'll get to that. So we salvage animatronics between each night because we have tasks to do at nighttime on our computer. Once we salvage each of these animatronics, we start to see they're pretty important animatronics. The first one we salvage, for example, is like Baby.
He's still on it. He's still on it.
We do Baby, then Springtrap, which is important. We do Lefty, which is an interesting animatronic. And we do Freddy.
I love Lefty.
So, yeah, you like Lefty?
Yeah, Lefty's awesome.
Well, Lefty's pretty cool. But, Springtrap is bad.
Do we have Helpy Bear?
I don't think so.
No Helpy Bear.
Not for this game.
Guess not. I just saw this guy over here just rambling on for...
I mean, it's what the fans
I'm pretty sure he's been doing this for like 30 minutes.
I have, actually.
I
I'm not
won the
even
cornhole
joking.
game 21-14.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Multiples of 7.
This is what the fans want. We're introduced to those animatronics. We salvage them, and the point of us salvaging them is actually to burn ourselves with William Afton. And this is why we believe we're actually playing as Michael Afton, which is the animatronic body that we use in FNAF Sister Location. So what's important about FNAF Sister Location is there's DLC for that game, and once we complete the DLC, each time we finish a night, we walk through the neighborhood and we start turning purple up until we get to a point where we throw out the endoskeleton, and that is Michael Afton, we believe. So
I believe the top 16 is about to start.
I do believe so.
Yes. Oh,
So,
we got the yelling going on.
That might be a thing that's happening.